Hi, everybody. These women I'm showing you here, that on the left side, that is my mom in her younger days, and on the right side, that is my grandma, my mom's mom, Kathleen McCullar, as we called her Grandma McCullar. We also referred to her as Granny K sometimes. And she liked to do things her own way. I remember being babysat by her a number of times, and she was kind of, it's my apartment, it's my way. And I realized back then she didn't have cable, which not everybody did at the time, and she only watched one channel, Channel 7 in Denver, and if I wanted to watch something else, I usually didn't get my way. She usually decided this is my TV, I'm watching Channel 7, and that's the way it went, and that's her thing. And I also acknowledge I didn't always behave the way I should have around her. I know I was a little kid still. I'd throw tantrums in restaurants, tantrums in grocery stores. I think I even broke one of Grandma's earrings one time in one of those tantrums. A moment I'm certainly not proud of, and even with my bad behavior, and one other quick thing, I actually ripped apart one of her stuffed animals one time in her apartment. I had my issues when I was a little kid for sure. Even with that, she was still a very loving grandma. She would bake brownies for me. One time, she got hurt and she didn't get me a present for my 7th birthday, and I kind of whined for one. While on her birthday, 3 months after mine, Grandma bought me something, which was certainly really big of her to do, and certainly nothing she had to do. And I can guarantee this is why I didn't get anything at first for my 7th birthday. About a week before that, Grandma had a tough accident, broke her hip, had to be on oxygen for a while, was in a wheelchair for a while. Tough time for her. But she got through it fairly well, at least for a while she did. And now as I pass through the photo album here, and you'll see some passing pictures of my father, some more mother pictures, also some other members of the family, including Uncle Bubba in there. But anyway, I'm taking it to this picture right here. On the far left is my Uncle George, or as we call him, Bubba. My mom is second from the left. On the far right is my Uncle Gary, and second from the right is Grandma McCullar. This picture, I'm all but certain, was taken on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 1991, and Grandma seemed happy. She was moving around. Yes, she was on oxygen, but she was moving around. It seemed like everything was going well, and then the very next night is when my mom got one of the toughest phone calls she's ever had, and I'll never forget, after the phone call, she broke down, could not contain her tears, and said, "Grandma's very sick." And what had happened was Grandma had collapsed in her apartment, falling on the opposite hip of the one she'd broken about 6 months earlier. And this time it did not go well. This time, unfortunately, she died. Grandma McCullar died on the day after Thanksgiving, November 29th, 1991, at the age of 73, and even though I was only 7 years old, I remember these fine people, my Aunt Jen and my Uncle Wes, dropped what they were doing to come babysit me. My mom and my dad and the rest of my mom's side of the family went to my Grandma McCullar's apartment to see what was going on and comfort each other during a very tough time, and these fine people, my Aunt Jen and Uncle Wes, took care of me while they were gone and helped me get through the night. We played video games, we played games. I mean, we had as much fun as we could, given the circumstances. And as a side note, Aunt Jen, still alive and well, still doing fine, but my Uncle Wes, like I mentioned a few years ago, died May 23rd, 2017 from cancer. But certainly one of my fondest memories of him and my Aunt Jen coming over to babysit me the night Grandma McCullar died. And that brings me back to a couple more quick stories about Grandma McCullar. She called my cousin Jerry Gerald, and I called him Gerald one time when I was 6, and he snapped at me, "Jerry, I don't want you calling me Gerald," which I get, but I think shows how much he loved Grandma McCullar. He didn't mind her calling him Gerald. And then about 2 months before she died, in September of 91, she was on oxygen. I think it might have still been in a wheelchair. I don't remember for sure, but it had been less than 4 months since she'd broken her hip, but she still took the time to go to one of my cousin Jerry's football games, which was certainly very big of her to do. And I think about if Grandma McCullar had lived a little longer, would she have helped me through one of my darkest hours, one of my darkest periods when my heart was broken as a teenager and lost most of my friends. It seemed like 1 versus 100. I wasn't getting a ton of help. I wonder how much help Grandma McCullar would have provided at the time. And it was also then, sure, I'd learned of deaths and had a couple related to me die. My great-grandma Mona died right before I was 5, great-grandma Mary when I was 6, but it didn't compute to me that we all die until talking to some classmates about Grandma McCullar's death in my 2nd grade class taught by Mr. Hubbard. And somebody said we all die, and that's when I learned, yep, that's true, whether we want it or not, we all die. And I was only 7 years old when Grandma McCullar died, night after Thanksgiving 91, and I wish I'd been a better person in the time she was alive. I know I was a little kid, but still, I just wish I hadn't acted out so frequently, and just wish I'd been a better person at the time, and maybe she knows I'm an okay person now, and hopefully she understands, and sees me for what I am if she knows what's going on. But Grandma McCullar, at times stubborn, but also a very loving grandmother who passed away November 29th, 1991, coming up on 32 years since that happened. I thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, take care, everyone.